There was a whole list of stuff that you couldn't say and talk about, and you had to be clean. And if you want the gig, that's the deal, man.
Rodney, you've had a really interesting career. You've done all sorts of stuff, both political and in entertainment. You're still doing entertainment, but I just free speech is a big thing of mine. It always has been. It's ever since you got me into politics, free speech has been a big thing. And I think an interesting thing I'd like to hear your opinions on is there's kind of an attack on comedy when it comes to free speech. There's people are movies, comedians, all kinds of stuff. They're extremely muted. Even South Park, they only went hard when it came to coming after Trump. And then you have people like Amy Poehler saying, "Oh, all of jokes eventually expire and they become too offensive." So where do you land on that? I think I can guess, but when it comes to censorship in comedy, do you think it's going to kill the industry?
No, there's always been censorship in comedy since the beginning of time. Even 50 years ago, there were things you couldn't say on stage, and there are now. They're just different things. I mean, people complain way too much. Like when I was a kid, the best gig that you could get as a comic was a college. Those were the best. They were the highest paying, and they were the easiest, and they were fun. And it's a bunch of, young kids, and they're all, half the time it was wild. And it was good pay. And it was during the day, so you could go out and still do a gig at night. So getting a college gig was the best, okay? But it also had the most rules. There was a whole list of stuff, and you had to be clean. There was a whole list of stuff that you couldn't say and talk about. And if you want the gig, that's the deal, man. Now, there's also shows where the people will tell you, hey, you can't cuss. There's no cussing.
Mm-hmm.
And, is that censorship? No, it's their show. You want to do an uncensored show? Guess what? There's the internet. You can say any freaking thing you want on the internet. So I'm tired of comedians complaining about this. Now, is there too much, stuff you can't say these days? Yes, it's way overboard. Of course it's overboard. But you know what? It creates these opportunities. Let's just take a guy, Louis C.K., who's a really, really funny guy. And he's not just funny when he's on stage. I swear to God, when he gets on stage, it's like he's off stage, and he's really, really funny. That guy's a funny dude. And he ran into some new age problems. He didn't do anything terrible. He didn't do anything against anyone's will. In other words,
he's just a little weird, honestly.
He didn't force himself or grab somebody or insult anybody. He did something that everybody in the room agreed was okay. Mm-hmm. But it threw him off the national stage in terms of TV and movies. Well, guess what? That was the best thing ever happened to him, because he only had one. He had one alternative now: go out and do my own deal. And now he's more popular and rich than ever. So, I think people complain about it too much. And if you don't like the rules, go somewhere else, invent your own rules, get your own show, start your own studio, do your own deal.
Right.
And go for it. But, of course, there is a crazy amount of stuff you can't say these days.
Yes.
A crazy amount. I mean, it's like Facebook. I used to make a fortune on Facebook, like when I was living with you.
Yep.
I made a fortune, and they took it all away from me in one day. And, did I cry or sue them? No, it's their company. They can do whatever they want to do. Is it wrong? I think so. And they ruined me, but only temporarily. You know what I mean? I found something else. I mean, it's too bad.
Well, that's because you bounce back. You always have lots of irons in the fire, and
if people come to work for me, guess what? I make these rules, and they're Rodney Lee rules. Yep. And you think woke rules are tough? Wait till you get a hold of some Rodney Lee rules. Then the pissing and moaning will really start. But my point is, you got to abide by my rules and my stuff. Go get your own stuff, like you're doing right now, Kim.
Yep, that's why. Well, that's why we have Four Boy Studios, because
That's right. That's
you know,
exactly right. Tucker Carlson, best thing ever happened to him that he got fired off the #1 show.
Oh
Best
yeah.
thing ever
Oh, I
happened to him.
mean,
He loved
I
his
mean,
life.
people are really sick of the mainstream media. They're sick of standard entertainment, standard Hollywood, pay for play actors who are just like not talented anymore. But I think, and I agree with you. I think people should just stop complaining. There is plenty of opportunity to do stuff on your own, especially if you have the following. But where I take
Let me give you
issue.
another example.
Yeah.
Stephen Colbert already has a new gig in his mom's basement. It's called Complaining from My Mom's Basement. So
And it's gonna be hit. Well, I mean, this whole thing, I think it's an obvious PR stunt swing to get him into whatever next gig he's gonna have.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to